Okay, first chance for us to be in contention in the division, and division has been off to an amazing start, and so feels like it's a championship type matchup for us, and we got to get ready to go and do a great job. Um, the Niners have looked really good. They played all but won the game last week, and they've done it on both sides of the football. They've been effective on both sides. Their marquee guys are really showing up and really making a difference, and they're playing good ball. So it's a really difficult matchup for us and for anybody, and we've got to make sure we have a great week and prepare and be right and be on it and do all the stuff we need to do to put together a great plan. So back to the Bay Area.
Pete, you always talk about how treat every game like a Super Bowl championship opportunity. In a week like this, where you're coming off 2 losses, do you want to see a different level of intensity from your guys?
I want to see a different level of our execution on game day. Yeah, I want to see that for sure, and so that it goes every day has got to be great. We practiced well last week. We didn't have any issues with the way we practiced. We didn't miss tempo. We didn't miss focus. That's not what happened. We just got to keep working to get better and get right and carry it to game day.
I know you haven't taken the field yet this week, but what is the vibe? What have the guys been saying since
real serious? Real serious. They want this to go, the way our expectations are designed, and that means we got to play better, and everybody knows that. And I think coming out of Monday and the meetings on Monday and showing the film and showing where the concerns were, the plays we could have made, and the decisions we could have made, and all that. That everybody's real tuned in. This is. I don't know how, we're trying to tune everything in every time, forever, and so, but I think there's a little bit of a different feel about it. And they want to prove it. They want to prove that we're on the right track and we're going to go win a bunch of games.
Is Andre Curtis back? Andre Curtis.
Yes.
Is the D going to practice today?
He can't practice today. He gets cleared today to practice tomorrow. That's part of the protocol. You got to get through the Wednesday. But he had a fantastic weekend of tournament, and he feels great, and we think he's going to be ready to go. We don't see any reason that he's not. So we're very positive because of what he's been through to get to this. But this is part of the staging of it. You have to wait one more day to get on the field.
Was Chris Carson okay Sunday, or what happened with him? That he maybe didn't get as many carries in the second half?
He was fine.
Brandon still going to practice today?
Not today. We're going to take it through the week and see how he does. He's feeling better. He's gonna work today. No.
Do you not expect Rashad to be back this week?
I don't expect him to be back this week. I don't think he'll make it.
Any of the IR guys coming back to practice?
Yeah, well, we'll get Kobe Parkinson back out. Cedric will be back out, and we're those guys have worked really hard. They're going to try to compete to be available to play, and we'll see how that goes. One day at a time. I can't tell you any more than that. But both those guys are really ready to go, and mentally now we've got to see how they look and how they fit in.
So not Trey Brown?
Not Trey Brown, not yet. Looking towards next week to start his return.
What about Nigel Warrior?
Not yet.
In the past, you shared metrics and goals that you've got for the offense, whether it is the number of runs versus passes or explosive plays. Does any of that change under Shane in this new offense, or are they still kind of the marks you're looking to hit?
No, those are fundamental to the game, and that's just a way of looking at it. I think the number you're referring to is the total number of rushes and completions. That's a old Vince Lombardi number. And I don't know if he might have given it to somebody else before him too. I don't know. I know that goes a long ways back, but it still holds up. And seems to it's one way to look at it. One marker that you can gauge.
You guys haven't had any runs of 12 plus yards or passes of 16 plus yards in the third quarter this year, and no points scored in those quarters. Is there any concern with now having 3 games under your belt, not being able to sustain drives without those explosives?
No, that's not the concern. No, I mean the concern to not convert the couple third down shots that we had to keep moving is the concern. We got to get that done. But it's worked on both sides of the ball. We haven't been getting off the field on defense in those, in the third quarter either. And so that's why the limited opportunities, and it's why it compounds the issue. When you go off and you don't get back, it's it just amplifies the issue. So, but I'm not concerned about in any regard that we just got to get back out. We got to get the job done because we obviously can, and so we just got to make it happen.
Richard Sherman signed with Tampa Bay. Did you guys talk to them much at the end at all?
I didn't talk to Richard, but we've been in contact, kind of in a way for some time. When we were watching Richard and had the thought in mind that maybe there was a possibility somewhere down the road. I talked to him seriously about that earlier, prior to camp, and so, but wish him the best. I'm glad he's get a chance to get back and hope for the very best for him.
You, is it more complicated than just football because of your relationship with him and what's been going on?
I don't know if it's more. I don't know if that's the right way to say it. More complicated. I don't know that it's not. Let me say this. Yeah, maybe because we know so much. Have so much information and we're so familiar and all that. Maybe so. Somebody else who doesn't, might be a different decision for them to make. The other side of it, I would say that it would work to our advantage in the other side of it too. So if we were willing to do something, so.
When you look at the 40,
LeBron was on with the Mannings and said that you offered him a contract during the strike season, the strike shortened season. What's the story behind that?
I can't remember the specifics of that, but you can see why I would. There's been plenty of evidence. I think we were having fun with it at the time. I'm sure there was some real serious thoughts in my head that it could be a good idea, but that was a while back.
Tight end or receiver.
I don't know what he couldn't do. I don't, he's a all-time athlete, and competitor and all that. It's not the same game. It doesn't mean it just necessarily carries over, of course. But, it would have been fun to try and find out. I know that.
See, George Fan obviously didn't play college football. Some of your kids didn't play. How much do you guys look at basketball players or other sports as one playing football and say, all right, keep in mind this guy?
Yeah, we're always watching, because there are guys that would have that chance, that to be physically within the kind of the profile that could have, and that's part of it, we started with, you saw us with Mark this year, it's just competing, you're just looking for it, and seeing if you can figure out where it does fit together, but it is rare. And it's a big transition to make. The speed of the game and all of the things, it's hard to imagine how much happens when the ball snapped, and what a guy has to be aware of when he's never done it before, or even if he's had limited background, we take a lot for granted too, but when you see you're watching a guy go through the experience for the first time like we did, holy cow, how could we... I can't even begin to tell you all of the things you could tell a guy, and we think, well, how could he handle all that information? It's about hustling and footwork and finishing the play and everything. It's amazing. There's a lot of stuff. We probably take for granted how it looks like easy because you see it so often, but it's a very challenging, difficult game.
Deebo Samuel has the second most yards in the NFL this year. What kind of a weapon has he been for them?
He's really become a special part of their team. I really see him as the star player for them. They utilize him in a fashion where they're always looking to get him the football. They're positioning him to make the plays. They're counting on him to do the things he does well. They've really used him well, in the sense that you can see what he has that's unique. He's really physical. He's fast enough to run away from guys. He's got a great competitive streak about him. So between he and Kittle, those two guys, and just getting the ball, that's a lot of firepower for them, in maybe a little less traditional way than we would think. But those guys they're all explosive, and they make big things happen.
After trading up for Trey Lance, how have you seen Jimmy Garoppolo respond still in starting lineup these first 3 games?
Well, I think he's like a real competitor. He hasn't backed off at all, and I thought he dealt with it really well and handled it. Any times you guys would ask him, his comments, his feelings about it, he handled it really well and welcomed the asset to the team, and they're using him. I don't know if you guys remember, but way back when Joe Montana first started playing, it happens to be the Niners. That's Coach Walsh used Joe, like on third downs and red zone type of situations when he first was breaking them in, and so there's a little something there. But I think Jimmy's handled it really well. He's playing good football and put him in position to win 3 games right out of the chutes.
Kyle Juszczyk, we know how involved he is in the offense. How unusual is it that his role continues to grow as a fullback?
Yeah, well, he's absolutely rare. There's nobody else like him. They line up with 2 backs in the game and a tight end and 2 receivers, and they can play every personnel that you can put up. The looks and the concepts and the principles of like 3 wides and a tight end and 2 tight ends and 2 backs and all that. 2 tight ends and 1 back, 2 receivers. They do all of it, and it's just for them. It just rolls off their style of play, and it's a big issue. It's different when you see the guys run on the field and they've got a different personnel group on the field, and then that personnel group represents a certain style of play and formations and things like that, and you defend it accordingly. When you don't know, you have to wait and see, and so it's really a very, very important part of their offense, and he's really good.
Apparent communication problems on the defense in Minneapolis. Was that among the players, between players, and coaches?
If I answered that, I've learned a while back, then I would assume that the first part of the question, which I'm not going to do, So, yeah, you did. So, touche. There's stuff we're just going to continue to get better at, and I didn't see any unusual problems in any regard of communications that held us back. But we have to make sure. One of the things that we do with our players is we adapt to the guy, and if the guy can do some stuff different than another guy, we try to coach him to that. And so not everybody gets coached exactly the same with the same demands because physically they're not the same players, and their makeup may not be the same. So that. In that maybe a guy could misinterpret. He hears us talking to one guy and then he thinks that means me too. That hasn't happened to us in years. I don't think that happened now. I just think it was a game that there's a lot of frustrations and we're ready to go. We're moving on.
Marquise Blair, is he going to be up this week?
Yeah, he looks today in the walkthrough. He looks like he's ready to go. He's anxious to practice.
And just Tyler's fine.
Yes. Yeah.
With Rashad, what's his long-term prognosis?
It's a week. He's running. He's working hard. He's just not quite there with all of the football moves that he needs to do to show that he can stay. We don't. He could come out and play right now. We want to make sure that he can stay and be part of it. We don't want to make him put him out when he might still be vulnerable, and so we're going to err on the side of caution in that regard. We got to get him back for good.
How are you guys doing COVID testing wise? Are you okay COVID wise?
We're always working at it. It's a work in progress. We're trying to do it as well as you could possibly do it. We test Mondays and Wednesdays here, and fortunately that helps us.
You think are Bless and Sydney going to play this week?
They're getting closer. Yeah, you'll see. We'll see how the week goes. That's kind of an invasive answer right there if you didn't know. Okay.
Thank you.